What am I supposed to do? I gotta chop this? Do I? Oh, come on. Wear the sock. Yeah, I could do that. Peel a banana. Okay, yeah, I got this. What? I gotta put this whole thing together? How do I... Damn it. Draw. What do I gotta draw? I can't think of anything to draw. Oh, heck yeah. I can handle that. You've got to be kidding me.
Wow.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the Dusty Game Society, where we cast aside the over-budgeted, over-bloated, overburdened, over-boring world of modern games and go back to a simpler time, when games were made by small teams of passionate gamers who wanted to share their love of gaming with the world. When games didn't give a crap if they were so hard you'd be likely to rage quit and run home crying to yo mama. These are the games that call to us, the Dusty Games. I'll tell you more about the DGS at the end of the video, but now we have a game to play. A game that feels like it crawled out of the chaos dimension just to give your brain a wedgie. I'm talking about the one and only Warioware INC. Mega Microgames on the Game Boy Advance. I didn't play this game back when it came out. I was too cool for Warioware. Just kidding, I was never cool. No, my first Warioware was Warioware Touched on the DS back in college, and holy crap, that game was so my jam. I played it during class, I played it on the bus. I once actually walked into a street lamp while playing this. True story. It was my first taste of Wario's brand of bite-sized chaos, and it totally scrambled my brain in the best way. I don't know why it's taken me this long to getting around to playing the first game in the Warioware series, but I'm kinda glad it took me this long, because I got to play it with my friends in the Dusty Game Society. It was like a shared hallucination. I'm pretty sure that none of us emerged quite the same. If you're not familiar with Warioware, it's not like other games. It's not even like weird games. It's completely its own thing. It's like if you crammed a bunch of mini games into a blender and sprinkled in some Saturday morning cartoons, some super Japanese Mario charm, and slammed the go faster button on the blender. My blender has a go faster button. Does yours? And somehow it's amazing. Warioware is built around not mini games but micro games. Little 3-second bursts of gameplay that are over before your brain has a chance to catch up. It's like speedrunning a fever dream. 1 second you're plucking a nose hair, the next you're dodging oncoming cars, and then you're playing a bootleg version of Donkey Kong with a single button, and if you can't keep up, there's no mercy for you. This GBA game is the very first Warioware, the one that started it all, but it didn't stop there. There's also Warioware Twisted on the Game Boy Advance that has gyro controls, Warioware Smooth Moves with the Wii Remote flailing, and there's Warioware Gold, which is like the ultimate greatest hits. The series is like that one weird kid in class who's eating glue but still gets straight A's. Unpredictable, genius, and a little bit sticky. I played this on my Retroid Pocket 5, by the way, because I'm fancy like that. And when I say played, I mean I tried to play, but I usually failed and shed tears of frustration and self-loathing. And you will too. That's kind of what this game does to you. It's part of the fun. This is usually the part of the review where I talk about the story. And story is a strong word for what's going on here. At least on the surface, it feels pretty bare bones, but there's actually more depth here than there seems at first. It starts with Wario, you know, the bad guy Mario, and he decides to cash in on the video game industry. He starts his own game company, Warioware INC, to make his own games. And honestly, that's the kind of entrepreneurial energy that I aspire to. I've been trying to find a way to monetize my love of root beer. I keep promoting A&W in the hopes that they'll pay me someday. Oh, hey, A&W, if you're watching this, have your people call my people. My mom. Have your people call my mom. And the game very loosely conveys that Wario ropes in a bunch of weirdos to help make the games. Each of them runs their own set of microgames. A whole bunch of colorful characters like Jimmy T, the disco guy, Mona, the pizza-slinging scooter girl, Dribble and Spitz, the space taxi driving dog and cat duo, and 9 Volt, he's my favorite. He's basically me as a kid. obsessed with retro games. There's not a lot of actual plot here, but every character gets a little intro cutscene and some really nice animated sequences to add flavor. Spicy flavor. Gameplay is where this game shines like a greasy nerd's sweaty forehead. Each microgame lasts about 3 seconds. You get one word or phrase like dodge or pick, and then bam, you're in it. No tutorial, no warm-up, just vibes and chaos. It's a test of your raw gamer instinct and reflexes, and maybe caffeine intake. There's tons of these little games, over 200 microgames here. Some are puzzly, solvey, some are dexterity challenges, some are reflex-based, some are just weird. 1 second you're guiding a finger into a nostril, and the next you're playing a one-button version of Balloon Fight. You'll miss like 80% of them your first time and wonder what just happened. And then you'll try again and again and again. Eventually, the games you failed at will become familiar and you'll know what to do. And you'll feel unstoppable, except just when things get easy, each character's stage ramps up in speed the longer you go. And if you mess up, if you miss 4 times, you're out. It's like a carnival game where the carny laughs at you every time you fail. Just like real life. But when you're in the zone, oh man, it's glorious. Nailing game after game, and it keeps getting faster and faster, and your eyes and brain are in overdrive, and your hands are shaking, and you're just scared to blink. That's the kind of manic energy that only Warioware can give you. It's kind of magical. Also, there are boss stages that are a little longer and more complex. These boss stages are like your little end-of-level rewards for not being terrible. Graphically, the game looks weird, but in the best way. Like you. The art style changes constantly. One game might look like classic NES, and the next might look like a poorly drawn sketch on a napkin. There's pixel art, there's claymation style renders, there's actual photos of real people. It's like an art class's year-end project gallery exploded, and Nintendo stole the chaos and crammed it onto a GBA cartridge. Also, every character's stage has its own visual vibe. Jimmy T's games are all disco themed, and Mona's have a fast food vibe. 9 Volts are full of Nintendo nostalgia. I mean, it's not that anyone would look at a single screenshot from this game and call it quote-unquote good graphics. Not traditionally, but it's creative as heck, and it keeps you guessing, and it makes every second visually interesting, or at least visually confusing, which is sometimes even better. The sound is the icing on the spaghetti. These beats and bleeps and bonks are just pure chaos fuel. It's goofy and energetic, but there is a rhythm to the madness, and that helps you get in the groove and the timing of the games. And there's lots of flavor here too. Each character has a unique theme song. Jimmy T's is disco, 9 Volts is chiptune beeps, and Wario's sounds like a carnival from the underworld. The sound effects are crunchy and cartoony and completely ridiculous. And when Wario's voice taunts you with those gross little laughs, it's like being heckled by a goblin. Or seduced. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. Also, some of the microgames use classic Nintendo sound effects, like the coin chime from Mario or the Link sword slash, and as a retro dork, that gives me a happy little brain tingle. Overall, the audio is just as unpredictable and unhinged as the visuals, and they go hand in hand together, and I think it's basically essential to enjoying the game fully. Definitely the kind of game you want to play either with headphones on, or so loud that the whole house is shaking and the neighbors can hear it 4 doors away. The biggest downside is how short it is. You can beat all the character stages in like 2 hours. It's not the end of your fun with the game. There's replay value. You're supposed to try to beat your high scores and unlock extra modes and extra games like these fun little 2-player games, a boss rush mode. But if you're looking for like a traditional game story with narrative arcs and emotional growth, you've walked into the wrong garlic-scented basement, my friend. Also, it's not for everyone. If you don't like the randomness or if you get overwhelmed easy, the frantic pace might be a turnoff. Just for a laugh, I fired this up on my RP5 and I shoved it in my mom's hand and said, "Hey, try this weird game." She lasted about 30 seconds, literally yelled, "I don't understand this," and handed it back to me like it was haunted. But these are minor gripes. The game knows exactly what it is, and if you're here for what it is, you're going to be in for a good time. Also, Warioware isn't just a goofy one-off. It's a piece of video game history. It also kicked off a whole franchise that's still going today. Without this game, we wouldn't have Warioware Touched or Smooth Moves or Warioware Gold or Get It Together, and we'd all be a little less weird and joyful inside. And for retro nerds like me, and probably you if you've watched this far, this game is a reminder of how innovative the GBA era was. This was a huge swing, and somehow this bizarre experiment worked. And I'm proud that I get to share it with you, and that I got to share it with the fine dweebs of the Dusty Game Society. Speaking of which, the DGS isn't a one dweeb show, and we had a ton of fine nerds playing this together last month. I have 24 reviews to share with you, so let's fly through these in classic quickfire Warioware fashion. The Shibushi had another first with the DGS with this game. Felt like the kid version of themselves would have loved this. Compared it to a bunch of little phone games all jam-packed into a GBA game cartridge, and overall had a blast. Mount Riley 1709 beat the game for the first time, actually tried playing this on their projector, which is just crazy to me, in a good way. General Lee finds Warioware to jive well with their ADHD brain and was smiling the whole time they played this. Had a hoot playing this series again. Sconage loved how funny the game was and how the short burst minigames activated his monkey brain and constantly wanted to just get back to mashing the A button. And then his partner stole his Gameboy. This was Echo Quincy's first time playing a game with the DGS, and had fun with the quick, snackable, intuitive minigames perfect for some quick pick-up-and-play gaming. Gact is another new DGS member, and says that this was one of their favorite games back in the day and blasted right through it. Lots of laughs and loads of smiles. That's what I like to hear. This is Space Case's first Warioware game, and it was a blast. Loved the variety, the music, the humor, and the quote-unquote story. Monkey 484 is another new member of the Dusty Game Society, been playing games since the 80s, and says this might be the weirdest gaming experience that they've ever had. Enjoyed it a lot, but says that the anxiety-inducing frenetic pace made this game almost exhausting to play at times. Jot and hated the game, just wanted to be done with it. 8 out of 10 middle fingers. Scott beats Warioware on every handheld they own and loves putting their device in sleep mode so they can whip it out in public places. I'm right there with you. Phalanax, which I assume is a name referencing the SNES game, is a first-timer in the DGS and played this game on their Zazbizzle, and enjoyed playing some two-player games by themselves because they have no friends. And boy, can I relate to that. Airzonk was thrilled the DGS gave them an excuse to finally try the first GBA game. Pure fun from the get-go, super creative, and felt like they were experiencing the dawn of the indie games movement. Gentle Ent, who I assume found the game way too hasty, finally gave this a try for the first time despite growing up with the GBA. It was punchy and silly, and the soundtrack was an absolute bop. Falling Star 55 had a blast with this one and even played all the two-player games and says they were fun. Kamimoto125 played this and Smooth Moves for the Wii and says you should play this if you want to feel as silly as possible. Monkey Jar thought it was good for a few minutes of quick fun, but missed that there wasn't any normal game progression. This was King Droogi's first game with the DGS, and they 100%ed the game just to make me look like a chump, probably. Says it's about as creative and weird as you can get with just the D-pad and the A button. Dusty Cruckler says that this is the first game they've beaten in the DGS. Finally! Laughed out loud more than once, had a blast with the game and tagging along with the other DGS members. This is my IRL buddy Zen, who is the biggest Nintendo nut that I've ever known. Says Warioware grabs a hold of your curiosity so you'll want to discover everything it has to offer, and says the GBA game that started it all is the perfect entry point because it embodies the spirit of the series perfectly. Thanks for joining us, nerd. Rixpa played this and Warioware Twisted and played through Warioware Touched on the 3DS, which was the one they had the most fun with, and wants to see a new mobile version of this franchise because they think the gameplay would translate perfectly. Nintendo, are you listening? Rixpa knows what's up. Krills Wilson had fun handing this to their co-workers at lunch break, with no explanation and watching them short circuit over the badness. Gave it 9 out of 10 bananas thrown at the cops. This was all our tech's first time playing a Warioware game and they had a ton of fun. Eloquently says it's like rapidly switching between Game & Watch games while dropping acid. I assume. Aston says Warioware is awesome and the whole series is great for pick up and play, like when they're rewatching TechDweeb videos or hiding from grass and sunlight and adult responsibilities. And last but not least, Strathclyde is here with their first DGS review. Had a blast, liked unlocking stuff and shooting for high scores, astutely recognized that this game uses lots of Wario Land 4's sound palette and gave it 9 out of 10 come on doggy, which I assume is good. And that's it. That's all I have for you today. All we have for you today, I should say. A taste of Warioware, but a taste isn't enough. You need the whole 12-course meal. So you should go get yourself a copy of the game or play it on your retro emulation doodad of choice to get in on this utter madness, if you want to. Or if you don't, then you shouldn't. But what you should do is listen to me tell you about the Dusty Game Society. This is a retro gaming club, like a book club, that I run as a perk for my patrons. Each month we play a game together, talk about it all month long, and then at the end of the month I make a review video and I share everyone's review like the proud retro gaming papa duck that I am. And if you'd like to support the important work that I do and get in on a little DGS action on the side, there's a link in the thingamabob below. And that brings us to the end. From all of us here at the DGS, stay dusty, my friends.